Hey everyone, XGameXHQ here, and today we're going to be going over the Week 3 patch notes for Update 40. Week 3 is typically a little bit of a nothing burger, but it does say here that they're going to be addressing some bugs and feedback concerns for the Endless Archive, and it also says that they're going to be looking at testing the new Guilds and Glory celebration event that is coming up, so we'll be taking a look at that as well. Starting off here, it says Event Testing Guilds and Glory Celebration. What do orcs, the Imperial Legion, and a shady criminal syndicate and a cult of murderous assassins have in common? They're all celebrated in the Guilds and Glory Celebration, maybe making a pretty solid activity finder group while they're at it. The assassin is a healer, it's all good. This event focuses on the Orsinium, Imperial City, Thieves Guild, and Dark Brotherhood DLCs. Your event tickets from this event come in a single batch of 2 tickets, and they are awarded by completing any one of the following each day. So either a Delve and World Boss quest in Orsinium, Hughesbane, the Gold Coast, or Imperial City, the weekly trial quest from Maw of Lorcaj, killing and looting an Imperial District Sweeper or Cold Harbor Elite Guard in the sewers, killing and looting the final boss of Imperial City Prison or White Gold Tower, killing and looting the final boss in Maelstrom Arena. The various bosses, resource nodes, and daily quests in any of the target DLC zones award extra loot during this event. Like the earlier Gates of Oblivion celebration, event coffers work a little differently here. So there are zone boxes and Imperial City boxes and dungeon boxes, all named in accordance with the location they are gleaned from. So zone boxes are found by completing daily quests in their respective zones, killing Delve and World bosses, public dungeon bosses, random enemies, treasure chests, safe boxes, resource nodes, thieves' troves, and pickpocketing NPCs. Dungeon boxes come from the final boss of Imperial City Prison, White Gold Tower, and Maelstrom Arena, and Imperial City boxes come from Imperial City daily quests, district sweepers, and Cold Harbor elite guards of the sewers. So the first of these boxes each day is a glorious quality box with higher drop chance of the good stuff. The first final dungeon boss of the 2 dungeons or the arena will offer a glorious quality box of its respective type, and you can earn 3 total glorious boxes per day as a result. 1 from zone content, 1 from Imperial City content, and 1 from dungeon and arena content. So these boxes can contain any of the following items: crafting materials, saleable treasures, style items for Guilds and Glory, Overland, and Dungeon Zone motifs, depending on the box source, and likewise for set items from Guilds and Glories, Overland, or Dungeon Zones. Imperial City key fragments, Telvar stones, companion gear, furnishing recipes, treasure maps or survey reports, motif chapters or Guilds and Glory, Overland, or Dungeon motifs, again, depending on box source, and pages for the new Bristleback Hunter bit style. Note that the final bosses from veteran dungeons arenas drop 2 boxes to account for their higher difficulty. If one of these would be eligible for being glorious, you'll get 1 glorious and 1 regular. The Impresario will carry bound style pages of the Bristleback Hunter armor style for 5 tickets each. She will also have 3 fragments of the new Molag Ball Imp pet in the first 3 fragments of Plain Meld's master face and body markings. So these are the new morphable and new face and body markings that are going to be coming up likely in 2024. Moving on here, we have very minimal for combat and gameplay here. So for itemization and item sets, for the class sets Basalt Blooded Warrior, it says fix an issue where this set could be influenced by Yorwald's guidance, creating situations where its effects persisted through bar swapping. It will no longer interact at all with duration extending effects. And Monolith's Storms. This set's visual effects now properly differentiate based on their source, so enemy effects look different from your own. And then there's a change to the Esoteric Environment Greaves, or a bug fix rather. Fix an issue where this set could fail to properly mitigate damage of attacks made by certain monsters, particularly in Endless Archive. Moving on to an unfortunate bug fix here for the Imperial City quest. Speaking for the Dead, they have now fixed an issue where grouped players could multiply credit on the step to stuff geodes into skeletons like some kind of reverse pinata. So for those of you who didn't know, if you had multiple people in your group, say if you had yourself and 3 others, you could actually put one geode into one skeleton and it would automatically complete the quest 4 to 4. But if you're on your own, you actually do have to put each geode in each skeleton. So unfortunate that that bug is going away, but you know what? We ask for bug fixes. This is what we get. All right, now we're getting on to the Endless Archive stuff. So in general here, adjusted the difficulty scaling in Endless Archive Arc 1 to be less difficult while further arcs increase in difficulty quickly. This affects stage monsters, cycle bosses, and throw Reccanum. The developer comment here reads, the goal of this change is to address 2 pieces of feedback. One, Arc 1 was too difficult for the intended audience, and it took too long for experienced players to reach difficult content. Now you'll have an easier time with Arc 1, but the monsters ramp up in difficulty much sooner. Armory assistants are now correctly disabled within Endless Archive, matching other leaderboard content. Sure, makes sense. PC, we still have dressing room, so doesn't matter as much. Standardize the number of monsters you will encounter in the first arc. In most cases, this will reduce the number of monsters throughout Arc 1. You will no longer have a chance to erroneously lose extra threads when suffering a defeat in Endless Archive. The Ghostly Gratitude unlock now correctly applies the Bountiful Resource Reverse, or Bountiful Resources Verse, rather. You will no longer get stuck pending a resurrection when your last thread is removed. Added text to the description of Destzuno's safety net to clarify that additional threads of fate are applied to future runs. And all books within Endless Archive are now correctly assigned to collections. Moving on to Portals to the Unknown, Haefel and Sajaz's clever cleaver chops now make a sound in Haefel's butchery. Ghosts of the Echoing Den now consistently explode, leaving a visible effect where they stood. Your character is now healed to full health, and your stamina is replenished once the Filer's Wing event ends, and you can once again use quick slot potions after completing the Filer's Wing. Next up is Verses and Visions. Verse options are now correctly filtered based on which verses you select in a previous page. Your character will no longer slide on the ground when closing a verse and vision selector without making a choice. Fix some punctuation on vision tooltips, and Pustulant Globs can now be used by werewolves. Stage monsters will now grow more powerful more quickly as you progress through arcs, and cycle bosses adjust the abilities and difficulty of many cycle bosses. Braces now correctly applied in the Lord Warden counter. Dark Monoliths no longer expire prematurely in Zahasha's counter. Lunar platforms now have clear visual effects indicating their active and inactive states. Cycle bosses no longer have a chance to appear back to back across arcs. Companions knocked off the cycle boss platform will now correctly be teleported back to an available location. And Yulnukrin's death no longer has a chance to stall progression in Endless Archive. Its flame atronachs no longer form a pool of lava upon death. If I'm not mistaken, the flame atronach pool was actually a problem last week that they said that they fixed, but maybe it's actually fixed this time. Alright, we got some changes to Thoat Reccanum here. Master Malchus now immediately summons Thoat Reccanum when you approach him upon entering the chapel. Fantastic. It kind of took him 3 years and a half just to get her out of that damn portal. So now we're not waiting around for that anymore. And adjusted Thoat's power scaling so she starts with less initial health and power, but increasing in difficulty more quickly as you progress in arcs. And for the New Life Festival, you can no longer interact with the keg of mead next to Brita, as the XP buff now passively runs independently during New Life. So for those of you who don't know, they are actually changing the buffs given by the mementos during events like New Life or the Halloween event or the Jester's Festival. Before you actually had to use his mementos to get 100% EXP buff. Now it's just a passive buff that runs independently during the event. The unfortunate side effect of this is that we now can't just load up on the event 100% EXP buff and just hold on to it till the next independent XP buff and stack them. And that's all the important changes for week 3. Thank y'all for watching. If you enjoyed the video, get subscribed, leave a like, and leave a comment down below and let me know what your thoughts are. Links to my socials and other ways to support me can be found in the video description. Thank you all again. I'll see you in the next one.